Hi, I'm Glenn Rogers, and this is American Perspectives. In this video today, we're going to talk about income inequality. You hear a lot about it, income inequality. It's always in a negative sense. It's a bad thing. Income inequality is a bad thing. Well, what it boils down to is that some people earn more money and some people earn less. Is that really a problem? Does it matter? Some say that income inequality is, in fact, a social injustice, and that's a big problem, that our society isn't fair and just when you have some people making a lot of money and some people making not so much. Is that true? Is that the case? Is income inequality bad, or is it normal and something to be expected? That's what we're going to talk about in this video today. But first, let me take just a moment and ask you to subscribe to our channel. It really makes a difference to us. It helps out quite a bit. It doesn't cost you anything. Nobody bothers you or whatever. So if you would hit the little subscribe button, it would be very helpful to us. So what's the thing with income inequality? Why does it exist? Well, why it exists, it depends on exactly what you're talking about, okay? And in some senses, income inequality can be bad. And in other senses, it's perfectly normal. It depends on why it exists, okay? If you're talking about two people who are equally qualified and they're doing the same job, but one of them is making more money than the other one, well, then there's a problem, okay? Because equal work ought to result in equal pay. If you've got somebody who is manipulating different aspects of the economy, so certain kinds of people are making a lot of money and certain other kinds of people are not making a lot of money, then that's a problem. See, and some people say, and that's what's going on, the economy is being manipulated. Of course, when you ask them for evidence that the economy is being manipulated, then they can't produce any. They're just making a claim. They're making an assertion, but they have no evidence to back it up. And so today I want to go in a different direction. We're not going to argue whether or not the economy is being manipulated. It isn't. There's absolutely no evidence that it is, and there are too many people who start with nothing, including Hispanics and blacks and women and others, and they become extremely successful. If the cards were being stacked against them, that wouldn't be the case. So it just isn't true that the economy is being manipulated to keep rich people rich and poor people poor. But it is the case, and no one questions it or denies it, that some people make a lot of money and some people don't, and so we have income inequality, okay? If different people are doing different jobs, very different kinds of jobs, then should they be earning the same amount of income necessarily? I mean, doesn't it sort of depend on the job you're doing and the skill level that you have and the amount of training it takes to do that job and the education you have to have and how important that particular job is considered to be for society? You see, those are all questions that have to be asked and answered. If people do different jobs that pay differently, you know, is that a problem in and of itself? Is that a problem that people doing one kind of job or certain other kinds of jobs, plural, make more money and people doing other kind of jobs make less money? Is that all by itself, is that a problem? No, I don't think so. I think income inequality is both normal and natural. And there are several reasons why one can say that and it be perfectly legitimate and true. So what are those reasons? So I'll give you some, okay? All large, complex societies, like America, are stratified societies. and they all have income inequalities. This is in America. It's not just America. It's all over the world. All large, complex societies are stratified societies, and they all have income inequality. All societies that grow and become complex societies also become stratified societies. It's impossible to go anywhere in the world and find a complex society that's healthy and functioning that is not a stratified society. You see, stratification occurs naturally as societies grow. And as they grow, bigger and bigger and bigger, and become more complex, then they're going to have some level of income inequality. And that's just normal. It's natural. It is not a problem. In life, when a child is developing, a child is growing, some grow much taller than others. Okay, is that a problem? Is there something unfair going on there if a person grows tall and somebody else doesn't? Well, no, not really. Now, are there some reasons why the one of them may not be growing as tall as the other? Yeah, there's probably some reasons, but none of them amount to something unfair or unjust occurring. It's just the way things happened. And as unsatisfying as that answer may be for some people, to think in terms of an economy that's part of a stratified society where income inequality is a reality, satisfying or not, that is the answer, and there's nothing wrong with it. Another reason is some people choose careers that come with a big paycheck. Okay? Now, early in my career, I chose ministry. I used to be a minister a long time ago, and then I was a missionary, and then I became a college professor. Well, guess what? None of those jobs come with a big paycheck. Okay? It's what I chose to do. It's what I wanted to do. It made me happy, and it didn't generate a great deal of money for me, but I enjoyed it. It made me happy. I'm able to do things today that I like because I did those other jobs. Okay, so I'm very happy, but I didn't make a lot of money, didn't get a big paycheck. Sometimes that's the reason, is choices that you make. Some people work smarter than other people. Now, understand what I'm saying here. I'm not saying that people who get rich are smarter than people who don't get rich. I'm not saying that. But there are some ways of working that are just smarter than other ways, okay? I've said in other videos that making money is a skill. You can learn how to make money. It's not a secret, and it isn't just dumb luck. Making money is a skill, and there are things that you can learn, and if you follow these methods, you will make money, okay? And that's called working smart. Other people make choices where they're not following those methods and they're not going to make money. Now, that doesn't mean they're dumb. Please don't think that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying some people work smarter because they're working in a way that's going to generate more income, and other people are not. They're working in a way that's just going to pay them a salary, and that's it. Okay? And that's one reason why some people make more money and some people make less, and why we have income inequality. Some careers are simply worth more than others. Now, again, don't take that wrong. I'm not talking about the value of the individual that does this work, okay? Because every human being has exactly the same worth and value simply because we're all human beings. Nobody is any better than any other human being. But there are some jobs that are considered higher priority jobs, okay, like doctors and lawyers and others. And you have to go to school for a long time to get to be one of those. And you have to pass tests, and you have to be licensed, and you have to be certified, and you have to have ongoing professional education. And people in those kind of jobs, especially doctors of all sorts, where in most cases they hold somebody's life in their hands, okay? Those jobs are considered extremely important. What kind of society would we have if we didn't have doctors? I mean, it would be a mess, wouldn't it? People would be dying all over the place all the time if we didn't have doctors to help people live healthy and be well and things like that. If we didn't have lawyers, we wouldn't have laws so that we could be a nation of laws and people live by laws. And we wouldn't have people who could help us in court, argue cases. You have to have lawyers. You have to have a bunch of different kinds of jobs which are considered really highly important jobs. And then there are other jobs that you need to have those too, but they're not considered really all that important in the bigger scope of things like doctors and lawyers. And you say, what am I talking about? Well, the person who works at a fast food restaurant, the person who works in retail sales at the mall. Now, we need those people, and I'm not saying those people are not important. I'm saying those jobs are not considered as important as some other jobs, and therefore, those jobs don't pay as much income. Okay, now anybody can see that. When I was a young man, I worked in retail sales. I also worked in fast food restaurants. At the time, I wasn't educated. I didn't have a marketable skill set. I was just either a teenager or in my very early 20s. That's what I was capable of doing, and so that's what I did. As the years went by and I went to school, I gained knowledge and skills that allowed me to earn a little bit more. Never a lot, but a little bit more than what I was earning when I was a very young man. And so that brings us to the next reason, number 5. Some people have skills that are more marketable than others, you see. And we think in terms of how important some jobs are. I tell you, one of the important jobs in our society is that of a plumber. Okay, what happens in your house when the toilet won't flush? Or when the sinks back up? Or when there's a water leak and you get water all over the floor? Okay, who do you call? You call a plumber. And those guys make pretty good money. Why? Because what they do is worth a lot. And people are willing to pay them good money to come and do what they do. You see, some people have skills that are more marketable than others. And sometimes income inequality comes from that. And what it all boils down to is that income inequality is a normal part of a normal society. Okay, so if that's the case, why do some people complain about it? Why do we have so many people getting so upset that in America we have a huge gap between the rich and the poor because we have income inequality? You got rich people up here and you got poor people down here, and this is just awful. This is terrible. Why? Well, number one, Marxists complain about it as a way to stir up class struggle and destabilize society. That's their goal. They want to change America. They hate capitalism. They hate freedom that we have. They hate a lot of stuff about our country, and they want to change it. And to do that, they have to destabilize it. And one way they destabilize it is through stirring up class struggle. And what better way to do it than with money? The other way is with race. Okay, and we just did that video a little while ago. But if we're not talking about race, then they're talking about income inequality. And that's one of the things that stirs up class struggle and destabilizes society. Other people complain about it because they're in the group of people who are not making a lot of money. They're poorer people. Now, that doesn't mean they're poor officially and that they live below the poverty line. Okay, but they're not making as much money as somebody else, and it bothers them. Maybe they're in the middle, you know, maybe they're making a living and they can pay their bills, but they're not happy with it. They would like to be making a bunch more than what they're making. Well, you know, it's easier to blame the system and claim to be a victim than it is to accept one's own responsibility. Maybe you don't have a marketable skill set. Maybe you're not highly educated. Maybe you didn't choose a career where one can actually make good money. Okay? Well, if any of those things are the case, then it's your fault you're not making money. Not society's. It's your fault. See, some people don't want to accept that responsibility. It's easier to say the deck is stacked against me, right? They're dealing cards off the bottom of the deck, and that's why only certain people can make money and the rest of us don't make it. Nah, that's not true. That's just not true, okay? Mostly, it's the Marxists who are causing the problems, who want to destabilize our society. They want to cause animosity between the rich and the poor, and so they gripe about income inequality. Now, here's a question, and maybe you have the historical background to answer this question, maybe you don't, but if you don't, you can do it, you can get it, you can go do some study. But here's the question: has there ever been, in the history of the world, a healthy, growing, stable society that did not have income inequality? The answer is no. Not a single one. And if there were, then the Marxists would be holding it up as an example of successful socialist utopia societies, and they'd say, see, it can be done. But they aren't, because there isn't one, and there never will be. Unless income inequality is the result of some intentional manipulation, which would be wrong, okay, it is completely normal and natural, and it is not unjust in any way. And we need to stop letting people tell us that rich people are somehow doing something bad, and that's how they get rich, instead of through hard work, that they're doing something bad by manipulating society. And the very idea that some people would make more money and some people less is an ugly, unjust thing. It isn't. It isn't. Now, one of the things that I would like to mention to you is that I've written this particular book. It's called A Brief History of Capitalistic Free Enterprise. And what I do in here is go back historically to the earliest histories where there's any recorded history, and look at how the people carried on their economy. And what you see is that originally they traded, they bartered back and forth. I'll trade you this for that. It was trading. But that was very cumbersome, didn't work very well, and so eventually they came up with a medium of exchange of some sort, whether it was seashells or brass coins or silver or gold or whatever it was. They had some medium of exchange so they could buy and sell. Okay? As soon as they did that, guess what system they were using? Capitalism. Capitalism, even though it was very simple, capitalism is the oldest economic system in human history. And I trace it out in this book, and I give you examples. I quote history, I quote scholars, all sorts of stuff in here. You can see that capitalism is an excellent system that is perfectly good. It's not bad. Some people who use the system are bad, but the system itself isn't bad. It's a good system, and this will help you understand it a little bit better. So thank you for watching today. I appreciate your viewing. Again, if you could hit that subscribe button, that would be helpful. But thank you. Have a nice day.